Well, Larry Satchwell here again with today's problem, today's Fix-It solutions. This is our recycling bin, and the recyclers have completely torn off the lid. We called the sanitation company, and they no longer provide this big tub. You have to buy your own, and then they'll give you a label to put on it for recycling. Well, shoot. Can't buy a tub this big for less than 50 bucks. So I'm going to attempt to fix it. I've got these little pieces of metal here from the big box store. You'll find these pieces of metal where you find the construction for decks. They are used for that, so I'm going to use that. I've got some JB Weld. That's always good for stuff. I mean, this stuff will cure a lot of things. And I've also got some lucite epoxy that's especially made for plastic, and that's important because most of the epoxies you'll see in the epoxy section say for most plastics, and you don't know what most plastics are until it won't bond to it. It's kind of like one size fits all. Well, it should really say one size fits most. So we're going to give this a shot. This piece of metal is just a little bit wide of this piece of plastic that I want to repair. So I'm going to bend it over, and that's going to do two things. It's going to give me a better bond here, but it's also going to make this thin piece of metal a lot stronger with the fold in it. I'm going to try to fold over both sides. I may only be able to fold over one since it's just such a small fold. I'm liking that. I'm not a blacksmith. I wish I were, or I wished I had some blacksmithing skills, but I don't. That's actually looking pretty good. I'm going to give the other side a try. These were relatively inexpensive, 55 cents a piece. Instead of just buying the two I needed, I did buy three to save the gas money over there in case I messed one up. But if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I'll use that sooner or later. Anyway, I think this just might work. This is going to take a little bit more work. As you can see, it's starting to roll over here. So I need to get that square, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Very little play in there. I like this. So I'm going to repeat this for the other side. I have both of them bent now, and they are so much stronger than it would have been without the bend. I could have put them on there without the bend, and it would have lasted a while, but I think this is going to last a lot longer. So now to attach them. The way this tub broke gives me a lot of gluing surface right here. So like that on the other side too. So I'm going to attempt to glue this first. I'm going to clean this surface with some denatured alcohol so that my tape I'm going to use as a clamp to hold this glue on is going to hold real well to that surface because I need to get those surfaces very close together. Got the Loctite plastic bonder. Oh! Didn't want to come out, and then it did come out. So I'm going to mix this thoroughly. Looks like exactly the right amount, hey? I'm glad I'm doing this outside. It's putting off quite an odor. I'm going to apply a liberal amount to all these edges right here. Now I'm not relying on this bond here. I should have put on some rubber gloves, vinyl gloves. But I'm not relying on this bond to hold this lid on. That would be foolish. But I do want to kind of get it in position here. That there, and that there. Oh, I'm liking that. That's nice and tight on that side. And that's tight on that side. I feel really good about these two bonds. They pulled in very tight. And then when I add this on here, I think we're going to have a fix for a while. Now, I've got some extra epoxy. You saw it come out so quickly. There's also another issue with this lid, and that's this big crack up here. So while I've got this epoxy ready there, I'm going to give that a shot. That's not going to glue up very well, but I've got the epoxy. It's just going to go to waste, so I'm going to go ahead and give that some glue. For now, I wish I had a little foresight and glued this one first. I'd really like to lift this lid and work on both sides at the same time, but I can't do that with that bond back there. But anyway, I'm going to give it some time to dry and work. Then we'll put those metal pieces on later today. It's been 60 minutes. The Loctite is strong. I think I could leave it like it is, but I'm still going to leave these metal braces on here. I like the way they fit, except this has a slight curve to it down there. I'm going to bend that over to make the adjustment there at the curve, and if I go right across these three holes right here, it's of course a little bit weaker there. It's also a little bit narrower on that end right there, but that's a great fit. In looking for the screws, I recalled that I had an open container of JB Weld 5-minute epoxy, and I'm going to try to. This stuff doesn't have a real long shelf life, so whenever I have an open container, and have an opportunity to use it, I like to do that. I'm glad I used the plastic weld on those other seams. It really is holding well. So I'm going to get a good coating of epoxy on here. I'm going to leave the duct tape on. Oh, I wished I'd put on some vinyl gloves. Anyway, this is 5-minute epoxy, so I'm going to go ahead and do both sides at the same time. Don't want this to set up before I have a chance to use it. And this is just kind of window dressing here. The screws are going to hold it, but I tend to overbuild things anyway. So a little denatured alcohol on this area. No disrespect to our trash collectors, but these cans take a lot of abuse. I already had this piece of metal here. It fits very flat on there. I'm going to use the JB Weld Quick Weld and quick setting steel reinforced epoxy. Sets in 6 minutes. I'm going to put that on the panel here and then screw that in, and that'll be as good a fix as it's ever going to get. 2 different colors here so that you know when you have it well mixed, it'll turn to gray. Nice thin coat. But I think that's going to work. So I'm going to give the plastic weld 24 hours and give this a look-see after that.